So are you still, so my question is, are you still worried about the ankle? You're doing the ankle things
I'm gonna
as
do
well?
some why. Because the person has to kick the ball, and so that foot has to be in what position? That locked position of the ankle. So I want them to be able, yeah, can you get it there? And now when you're there, can you strike the ball through by doing this motion? So I'm
Okay.
gonna do both for that person.
All right, so basically when you move
If I was
up the
more
segment,
worried
you-
about where they had trouble just only at the knee, I may forget it, but then what am I now doing? I'm just doing knee flexion and extension, yeah? It doesn't have anything to do with PNF and L.
So if you're
So
doing
then-
the hip, you're doing the knee and the ankle too?
No. So if
No?
I was just gonna do the hip, I could isolate the hip, or I could do them. So it just depends on what you wanna do. So if my old guy, 57 male carrier, okay? So let's finish this and we'll jump to that. So if I was gonna do this for the soccer player, yeah, I'd scout out here and I want your toes up and heel in. Because this is simulating the motion that I want them to do. I would be on this side over here doing that, yeah. Toes up and heel in. So I would be here in this diagonal pattern, okay? My movement's toes up and heel in, and I'm moving this way. Toes up, heel in. Good. Toes up and heel in. Good. Try. Make sense? So that's what I'd be doing with them. But you still stay in the ankle pivot. Because all the knee's going to do is flex and extend. So you still do the same thing. I'm either in D1, flexion or extension, D2, flexion or extension. Okay? So that's why on the case it was very specific in that, because it already gave you the pattern of what you should be doing.
When we do the knee, you want them sitting? Is that what you're-
Yeah. You can load it into standing. We haven't gone that advanced with it. So for right now, yes, just in sitting. So I'm going to jump to the hip. So if I was only going to do the hip and not worry about the knee or the ankle, okay, remember this is the full D1 pattern. So what kind of cueing am I going to give her to do that motion right there? Just bring your heel up and bring your knee across to the opposite shoulder. Okay? Knee up, heel across. So see how now she's doing what? Hip flexion, adduction, and external rotation. I'm not worried about the knee. I'm not worried about the ankle. All I'm doing is hip. And my resistance is going to be what? Right here. Yeah, see, she gets it. That's it. Help me. Yep. Knee up and across. Good. Yeah. Got it? It is. So then it becomes, how do you dose them? Okay, remember we're giving them almost max resistance. They may only do 3 to 5 reps if you're really working them. Some flip it the opposite way and they use the fit principles like, well, I'm trying to get endurance, so yeah, they're doing 2 to 3 sets, they're doing 12 to 15 repetitions. Well, if you want to wear yourself out, keep doing it that way, because it will happen. But you see that done a lot with the upper extremity. And the reason for that is we have to get them to that fatiguing point, because if not, guess what kicks in? Delts and pecs take over and they do so much work. But if you get a higher volume in the reps, then we start getting those muscles that are deeper than the pec and the delta. Okay. So that makes sense on that, of how we do? So that's the flexion. So the extension would be what? Just push your hip down and bring your leg out. Hip down, leg out. And see if she doesn't get the rotation, I might say, yeah, turn your heel so it comes towards me. Okay, so there's the rotation that comes. If I wanted to approximate her, I could give her compressional force here, that way, or this way. But more times than not, if I'm just using this here, that's because what? They can't load the joint, right? If I took everything else out and I'm only doing this, it's because they can't totally load the joint yet. Does that make sense? So all it is pure strengthening, but working all the muscle groups in all 3 planes. Yeah.
So I have a lot of questions.
No problem.
When do you know when to do knee bent versus knee straight? What conditions do you do?
So what do you think? The longer the left arm is, the more they can do, yeah? So by bending the knee and taking it out, shorter lever arm gives them the mechanical advantage to be able to do the work, because it's not very hard, right? Compared to when you guys do this, toes up, heel in, yeah? That's like kill, exactly. So I know if you're doing a muscle grade, and they're just barely over the 3, they get it, they clear gravity, you give them resistance, it goes down. Could this not be helpful? Say, yeah, just do that motion right there. Because you just got done mobilizing the hip. Feels pretty good. I got more motion. Guess what? Let's strengthen in the motion. Yep, and I can do that right here. Okay. Make sense? Pretty easy, right? Yeah. So same thing again, so the flexion patterns at the hip, remember it's flexion, adduction, external rotation. On the D1 extension, it's extension, abduction, and internal rotation, okay? So think of it always spiraling to the shoulder, spiraling away first the 1, okay? On the 2, it spirals away and then comes in. 1 towards, 2 away. If that helps you to think about it, of doing hip flexion, abduction, and internal rotation, and hip extension, adduction, external rotation. Okay? We good with that? So that's really the areas you have to remember is the ball and socket areas, yeah? And so it's there and there. And just think about it. It's kind of neat because it does the same thing in the lower extremity and upper extremity. Ball and socket, oh, I got a little hinge. And then over here, pseudo, because it can do all 3 planes even though it's really only 2, yeah? Circumduction gives you the 3rd one. Same thing with ankle, circumduction gives you all 3. Make sense? Yeah. So it's pretty cool. So think about it. Mobile, not so mobile, mobile. Okay? Sound good? Any questions with that? So specifics, then we can dig into it. Whoever wants to still chill. So I got about 8 minutes, and I gotta go teach